Greetings everybody, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my movie series Nails in a Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. Today, we're going to start the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, and that is going to carry us forward for the next 8 weeks. Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in 1974 and was directed by famed horror director Tobe Hooper. It stars one of the most iconic villains in horror history. Now, if there was a Mount Rushmore of horror villains, it might include Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and our Leatherface. We've got some nailing to do, so sit back, relax, grab your chainsaw, and let's put some nails in the coffin for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw Massacre begins with an opening text crawl narrated by John Larroquette. And this is probably one of my favorite beginnings to a horror movie. The way John Larroquette narrates the text crawl does a really good job at setting the tone for this movie, and even the way he says the title of the movie at the end, it really lets you know what type of ride you're going to be in for. Sally, her wheelchair-bound brother Franklin, Sally's boyfriend Jerry, and friends Kurt and Pam are on a road trip in a van through Texas. They're on the way to go visit Sally and Franklin's grandfather's grave to investigate reports of vandalism and grave robbing. Now, during this road trip, we learn that Sally's brother Franklin is very, very annoying.
Franklin, I like me. Please change the subject.
And it would probably make the road trip not so much fun being in the van with him. Also, they pick up Nubbins, this hitchhiker, along the way. And we quickly find out that Nubbins is anything but normal. He's really out there, and one of the biggest mistakes this group makes was actually picking up Nubbins in the first place. Nubbins is starting to creep them out. He asks to borrow Franklin's knife, and he cuts his hand for reasons, digs into it really well. And then he sets this little fire inside the van, and it freaks everybody out. They're trying to pull over so they can kick Nubbins out of the van. Nubbin grabs a knife in his boot and cuts Franklin's arm. So they finally pull over to the side of the road, kick Nubbins out, and start to drive away. And Nubbin takes his bloody hand and wipes blood all over on the side of the van. They think their little scare is over and done with, but unfortunately for them, their hellish trip is only beginning. After they kick Nubbins out of the van, they pull over to get some gas. The old man who's working at the gas station, and we come to shortly find out he is part of the Sawyer family, tells him there is no gas, the tanks are empty, there's nothing he can do for them. Sally and Franklin tell the old man what they're doing up there, and the old man kind of warns them, hey, don't go traipsing around in areas where you don't belong. If people don't know you, they're not going to like it, and they may show you. Short while later, all 5 of their friends make it to the grandfather's house. It's his old abandoned house with really nothing in it. And Kurt and Pam decide, hey, they were told that there's a creek somewhere close by where they can go swimming. So they go off by themselves to go swimming. And this is going to lead into our first death in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Our first death is Kurt, and he dies at 35 minutes in. He and Pam are trying to find this creek to go swimming in. They don't find it. They don't find any water at all, mind you. But they do find this house where they see a generator running. So they decide, hey, maybe we can ask the people in this house to go borrow some gas, and they could put it in their van and, get back on their way. Pam is sitting outside, and Kurt decides to go up to the house to see if he can find someone to help them. He's knocking on the screen door. He's not seeing anybody. He's not hearing anybody. So he's knocking on the door, and he opens it a little bit, saying hello, hello. But he does hear what sounds like some pigs squealing, coming from inside the house. So he goes into the house uninvited. He walks into the house, and he keeps hearing these noises, and he sees his doorway. And on the other side of this doorway is a wall with all these animal skulls. Well, that's the perfect place where, Kurt decides to go. He trips on this wooden ramp on the floor, loses his footing, and as soon as he gains his footing back, this big hulking beast of a man jumps out. It's Leatherface, hits Kurt in the head with a hammer. Kurt falls down to the ground, starts flopping everywhere. Leatherface looks down at him, hits him again. Kurt stops moving. Leatherface picks him up and slams this large metal door shut, ending the kill. Well, Kurt Since you're the first one to go, you made a dumb decision by A, walking into somebody's house uninvited, and it was your decision to actually pick up Nubbins the hitchhiker. So these dumb decisions are eventually what led to your downfall. You're a nice guy at something personal, but for the first kill in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Kurt, you're getting one nail in the coffin. Our next victim is Pam. Now, we don't have an exact time of death for her because it's a little ambiguous considering what happens to her. She definitely is our next victim. Kurt hasn't come back yet, so Pam starts to get worried. So she decides upon herself to go walk up to the house in this iconic scene in the movie and see if she can go find Kurt. Again, she's knocking on the screen door. She can't see or hear anything. And she takes it upon herself to walk into this house looking for Kurt. She's not seen anybody. She's not hearing anybody. She does trip and fall into this room filled with furniture made out of human bones and carcasses. She's very terrified, so she does pick herself up and run out of there as soon as she sees, what type of room she's in. But before she can make it outside of the house, Leatherface comes around the corner, startles her. Pam goes to run out of the house. Leatherface catches her, grabs her, drags her back inside the house. He then takes her into his butcher room where he kills all these people, picks her up and throws her on this giant meat hook hanging in a room where she is forced to watch Leatherface butcher her boyfriend Kurt. Pam, I'm giving you 2 nails in the coffin. You did not want to pick up Nubbins the hitchhiker. And maybe if they didn't pick up Nubbins, you guys wouldn't be in the predicament where you are now. You did go inside somebody's house uninvited. Granted, you were looking for your boyfriend. It was a bad victim of circumstance for you, Pam. So I'm going to go down the middle, Pam, and give you 2 nails in the coffin. Our next victim is Jerry, Sally's boyfriend. And he dies at 46 minutes in. He's with Sally and Franklin, and they're waiting on Kurt and Pam, and they're not back yet. It's starting to get dark. Now, mind you, Jerry was the one driving, and he was one that decided to pick up Nubbins. So he's already going to lose some points for making that dumb decision. He goes looking for Kurt and Pam, and he comes upon the house where they were killed in, and walks into the house himself, looking around. He makes it into the room where Leatherface had picked up Pam and put her on the hook, but she's no longer on the hook. So he's looking around this room. He hears something in this large freezer that's on the floor. He picks it up. He sees Pam's corpse in there, but she's not dead quite yet because she jumps out at him. Jerry gets startled, turns around, sees Leatherface. Leatherface hits him on the head with the hammer, killing him. Jerry, I'm giving you 1 nail in the coffin because you decided to pick up a hitchhiker who was covered in blood and was acting all weird. You never should have done that. And again, you went in somebody's house uninvited. I know you were looking for your friends, but these dumb decisions is what led to you being killed. So, Jerry, sorry to say, buddy, but you look like Disco Stew, and you're going to get 1 nail in the coffin for your death. Our next person to die is Franklin, and this happens at 52 minutes in. Right now, Franklin and Sally are by the van, and it's dark outside, and they're both getting really worried because nobody has returned yet. Sally and Franklin are having this big argument because Sally wants to use the flashlight to go look for the rest of her friends, and Franklin doesn't want her to go. He wants to go with her. He's freaking out, having these panic attacks because the keys are gone to the van.
We don't have any keys. They took the keys.
This scene builds a lot of tension in the movie right now because you see how frustrated Sally is because Franklin is acting like a 5-year-old. And he's just not listening. Sally wants to use the flashlight to go look for her friends. Franklin doesn't want to give it up, and he wants to go with her. But Sally's like, I can't push you in that wheelchair.
Look, I'll go with you.
I can't push it down that hill!
So a lot of tension is being built right now, but Franklin is just being too obnoxious about it and won't give in. So Sally is stuck pushing Franklin in the wheelchair throughout the woods with the flashlight, going to look for her friends. It's really dark. It's really hard to see in this scene, but Just at 52 minutes in, as Sally is pushing Franklin through the woods, Leatherface jumps out of nowhere with his chainsaw running and kills Franklin in his wheelchair. And Sally is freaked out and she runs away while Franklin is getting chopped to bits in his wheelchair. Franklin, you were very, very annoying in this movie, even from the beginning. And I don't want to, take points away for your nails in the coffin on it, but you shouldn't have had Sally take you. You probably were more safe by the van, but you wanted to go just because you didn't want to be left alone. I know you're not supposed to split up in horror films. I just think it was a bad decision at this point for you there, Franklin. So, Franklin, like I said, for your death, I'll be fair and give you 2 nails in a coffin. I wanted to give you 1 because you're so unlikable. But, Franklin, I'm going to give you 2 nails in a coffin. We only have 1 death left in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but we have a lot that happens before that death. Sally, she just saw her brother get killed, and she starts to run away because, she's freaking out, screaming. Leatherface is chasing her through the woods. She makes it to the house where her friends were killed. She doesn't find her friends. Leatherface chases her through the house. She gets back outside the house. And eventually, she goes back to the gas station where they were earlier in the film, and she meets the old man, who we know is now Drayton Sawyer. She thinks that he is going to help her, but he doesn't. He tries to take her captive. He knocks her out and ties her up and takes her back to the house. And then when she wakes up, she's tied to a chair for the infamous dinner scene in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We're now at the climax of the movie, and Marilyn Burns, who plays Sally Hardesty, does such an amazing performance in these scenes because you just see the terror in her eyes, and it really is something else. I just really love her performance. She's tied to a chair. The old man is there, Nubbins and Leatherface. They're torturing her. She's screaming, and nothing that she's going to say or do right now is going to save her. They're about to finally kill her. Nubbins is holding Sally over this big metal bucket, and they got Grandpa there with a hammer in his hand because he's the best at killing, and they're going to kill Sally so Grandpa can drink her blood. Nubbins is getting really impatient. He wants to do the killing, and he was the one who was holding Sally. Well, he lets go of Sally. Sally starts flailing around and is able to break free, runs in the house, jumps through a window, and it's now almost daybreak, and the look on her face is just incredible, and she starts running outside the house trying to get away. Nubbins runs out of the house. He's quickly after her, and then shortly after Nubbins runs out of the house, so does Leatherface. So Sally is being chased by both of them, and Nubbins is catching up to her, slashing her in the back with a knife. She makes it to the road where this big 18-wheeler is, and she's able to get out of the way in time for Nubbins to be run over by this large 18-wheeler. Nubbins, you in the middle of the road, you saw this big 18-wheeler coming at you, and you didn't get out of the way in time. You just kind of put your hands up, and you kind of had a little bit of time to at least try and get out of the way, but you were squished by the 18-wheeler and you were run over. Sally sees this happen. She's still terrified and mortified to what's going on. She's trying to get away. The truck driver tries to help her. They climb in the cab and get back out the other side. Leatherface is chasing them. The truck driver grabs his big, large wrench, throws it at Leatherface, hits him in the head. Leatherface goes down. Chainsaw hits him in the leg, and this is giving Sally just enough time to get away. A pickup had just driven by. Sally flags him down. Truck driver in the pickup almost hits her, but he's able to swerve, and she's able to just in time get in the back of the truck and drive away as Leatherface is chasing her. And then you see Leatherface do the Leatherface dance with the chainsaw as the terrified Sally is just screaming as the truck is pulling away and the movie ends. Nubbins, you got 1 nail in the coffin for your stupid decisions, but in general, I love this movie. What an ending to a horror movie. You know, bravo, and it's just done really well. Marilyn Burns is definitely the star of the show here, and her portrayal as Sally Hardesty, very, very well done in this movie. I loved it. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the nails in the coffin for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I think the last 5 minutes of this movie is some of the best in horror. Just to summarize, we had Kurt with one nail in the coffin. Jerry also had one nail in the coffin. Kurt's girlfriend Pam had 2 nails in the coffin. Sally's very annoying brother Franklin had 2 nails in the coffin. And Nubbins, the hitchhiker, had 1 nail in the coffin. 5 kills in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that gives us an average nail rating of 1.4 for 1974 Tobe Hooper's directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it because I really do love this franchise. There's a lot of fun movies, and I'm looking forward to covering them in the next upcoming weeks. Stay tuned for next Friday, where I'll be reviewing Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I want to thank you guys for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it. If you want to do me a favor, please give me a like and comment down below what you thought, if you agree or disagree with my nail rankings. And if you haven't done already, please hit that subscribe button. Keeps me motivated to keep making these videos, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And I really appreciate everybody who's watching this right now. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'm your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.